Because the Jamaica Bobsled, that was a real test of faith and loyalty. Because we basically had to dip into our life savings, $85,000, and I'm not a rich person, to cash in CDs and cash in stocks to do this. And what if, what if there wasn't a Prince Albert to call and the IOC had said, you're not going. And after all that, we're not in the Olympics.
What advice would you give, our young kids here today, having the experiences that you have had, and maybe learning from maybe the mistakes or learning from your successes? What could you share with the young kids that are here today about advice that you might have for them?
Well, most of it, I think, would come from the Jamaica Bobsled story. I mean, there's some other experiences that I would throw in there, but let's just stay with Jamaica Bob. There, the lesson and the advice would be, do not give up. You are going to face a lot of naysayers. You come up with some novel, let's call it a novel, some people will call it strange or weird. We'll call it a novel, interesting idea. People will naysay it. They will say how it won't work. And as long as you sort of test it and retest it, say, no, this will work. I have thought about that. Yeah, I have planned for that eventuality. And yes, if this doesn't happen, I can still do this. That you have thought this through. Then move forward and do not let yourself be stopped by those who are naysaying the idea, and to persevere. Because the last thing you want to have happen is, when you get old like I am, you can't do it anymore and you don't want to think back and say, damn, I had that opportunity when I was 18, when I was 38. And I let somebody talk me out of it. Because all it will do, it will just keep you up at night saying, damn. You want to avoid that to happen. And so what if you fail? You just try again. You'll come up with another idea. You'll be inspired by something else. There will always be another chance. So don't let it slip away. You've got something, follow through, persevere, take it all the way. And you will succeed. Maybe not the first time, but you will succeed. Never, ever give up. Good ideas, hard to come by. Most people, they get talked out of them. Most people find excuses why they shouldn't do it. I'm too busy. I really don't know anything about that. Don't let that hold you back.
Are any of the same guys still part of the team, or is it a new?
No.
They're all new.
They're just too old and long in the tooth. The drivers, though, can stay on. In fact, the guy that's the won the gold medal in the two-man, Andres Lange of Germany, he's got to be 40. Wow. Most of your good drivers are in their late 30s and the 40s. But Dudley, our driver, Dudley's got to be 48 now. Yeah. But he went to 4 Olympics.
Did he? Wow.
Yes. Our best Olympics. And I left the team after that because you're always supposed to quit when you're on top.
Yeah.
Was in Lillehammer in Norway in '94. And we went to Lillehammer and we came in 13th in the 4-man event. And we beat 3 of the top sleds. We beat USA 2, we beat Italy 1, and we beat Russia 2. That will never happen again. I mean, Dudley was in a zone. He just had it, and he put together 4 consistent runs. And sure enough, it hasn't happened again. So, but what has happened is that now it has led to a lot of other unlikely teams. There are now 6 Caribbean island bobsled teams. Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands, Dominican Republic, that they actually had to put in what they call the Jamaica rule in the rule book. Say, hey, okay, you just can't show up, even if your committee says you can. You've got to qualify, you've got to meet minimum standards. And this is the biggest argument I have with the International Olympic Committee, is the hypocrisy. After being told you can't go to the Olympics because you're going to embarrass us and turn it into a circus, then after seeing that they changed the rule book to stick in the Jamaica rule so you qualify, so you can be competitive, what do? For the Sydney Olympics, in order to bring in more countries into the Olympic movement, they go out to, I think most of the countries were in Africa, somewhere in South America, and say, hey, listen, if you can get a team to come to the Summer Olympics in Sydney, we've got 6 all-expense-paid trips to the Sydney Olympics for your family. They go to the Minister of Sports and they go to the Minister of Foreign Trade and the Prime Minister. So that's a heck of an incentive. So the Minister of Sports in the Equatorial Guinea goes to his son and says, son, listen, your mom and I, have got a 2-week all-expense-paid to Sydney, okay? All you got to do, you see the ocean over there? Go learn how to swim quickly. And he did. And so what happens, they go to Sydney, and I'm gonna now show my anger. It really upset me after what they put us through and they allowed this to happen. So the poor kid, he's trying his hardest, but they had to clear the entire pool. None of the other Olympic swimmers would swim in that same race because of just too much splashing. And the guy almost drowned.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
It's just total hypocrisy. Because what I do think about is what if Prince Albert of Monaco did not make the fix?
Yeah, or took the 2 weeks, wasn't going to take the 2 weeks. I mean,
But
Is this you guys? I got
is
online.
that?
Here, can you pass this? Somebody, thank you. I just put in Jamaican Bobsled just to see what came up, and it came up with that site. Yeah, I'm just curious. Is
That's
that
not the,
uh,
no, this is some guy that's trying to copy us.
okay.
He's trying to make $1 or $2 off the Jamaican Bobsled team. The real federation is in Kingston, Jamaica, and Montego Bay. In Montego Bay, we have a shop at the airport.
Do you have any regrets from the team, like from your experience with it?
Regrets. No, I mean, you could say, yes, I regret that I couldn't raise any money from the government or from private companies, which would have allowed us to train more or to have a better sled or whatever. But then that would have sort of taken the whole persona out of what we were. I mean, we were ragamuffins. We were a bunch of guys that got together. Most of them were told to do this, not because they wanted to bobsled, but because their military commander said, follow this guy and do what he tells you to do. It's not they did it willingly, but once it started, and then sort of the guy that put this together and is leading them, he doesn't have any money. He doesn't know whether this is going to make it or not. So it required, and it really was a test of trust. Because as the Jamaican athletes would tell me later, in the beginning, we thought you were just going to try to exploit us here, for personal gain or something. But then we realized that you were in this more than we were. And that basically, if this succeeded, we were the ones that were going to get the glory. After you were the one that came up with the idea and put up the money and so on. So no, I don't have any regrets. I'm glad it turned out the way it did. Am I glad they crashed? At the time, of course not. But today, if these guys hadn't crashed, they wouldn't be doing as well as they are. I've got guys being asked to go on a Caribbean cruise and be a featured celebrity. Remember, this is over 20 years now. People still talking about it. No regrets. We move on.
So did the team get a lot of money for the movie from Disney
Yeah, how
for
did
telling the
this
story?
go? I negotiated $250,000 from Disney. They wanted to do it as a percentage of profit. And I was advised, I said earlier about Lee Majors, don't take it, don't fall for that trick. So I said 250, and just to humor you, put us down for 2% of net profit, though I don't expect to see a dime. And I never did. Even though the movie has made $250 million, it cost them $35 million, they still tell me they're losing money. So, from the 250, I paid myself back $88,000. Each of the 5 athletes got, how much did they get? 15 or 20,000. And the balance was put into the foundation so the program could continue. Yes.
Do you have any input into the movie?
Boy, did I try. When this guy shows me the script of how he's going to butcher the story,
What story is that?
I said, what the, huh? Are we on the same sheet, fella?
So did they have to like build up, like pull research through you and interviewing you all the time, or did they just
Yeah, I mean, the
kinda
script writers, yeah, can I ask
take
you
a little
about
bit?
this? Yeah, I tried, and I just got laughed out of the
They just
room. I
felt
said,
it.
I want editorial control. I want creative control to be a script. Just get him out of here. Listen, fella, you know, we paid you your money, okay? Fine, we'll put you down as a consultant. But no, you are not going to have creative control. You're not going to tell us how to make a movie. This is what we do best.
It's a shame, because October Sky is another Disney movie, I don't know if you're familiar with it. It
No.
talks about a boy that, making a rocket, again, this unsurmountable.
That's what I heard about that.
And it's just a really good film.
Was
It's
it-
done fictionally, but yet it's in context of fact, of course, and it's done honestly without it being funny or trite or.
Right.
And it's a shame.
They could have
because-
done the same thing here.
Absolutely, they could have.
I mean, there were a lot of humorous moments in real life. It's not like, okay, you want to bring a comedic element to this. Hey, I've got all kinds of stories for you that get people to laugh as to what actually happened to us.
Now the part when he walks out of the airport in shorts, or is he all bundled up? Is that true? He thinks it's cold and it's burning hot.
But what is true, when I took him to Placid, they didn't have any winter clothes. So as soon as we got to Lake Placid, the first thing I did was go down to Goodwill and just clean Goodwill out of ski parkers and boots and things like that. When we got to the States, took a flight from Kingston to New York before we got to Lake Placid, we got detained for more than 3 hours in JFK, the customs, because the customs people would not believe. You got, what? Jamaica Bobsled, yeah, sure, fella.
Yeah.
Jamaica Bobsled. Come on.
3
Over
hours.
here. Let me check your pockets. Let me see what you've been smoking.
This is very cool.
So what brought you to Warrenton after all that?
Many more brought me. I was in the government and the foreign service, and my wife's family goes back about 12 generations in Fauquier County. So after the foreign service, she said, I want to go settle down where my family did. I said, okay. As long as I'm close to an airport, in this case Dulles, because I'll be doing a lot of travel in my business. Pick a place. So she picked Warrenton, Fauquier, 15 years ago.
You've been here for 15 years.
Yeah.
How many kids, or what do your kids do? Like, what did they
Yeah,
get as an
unfortunately, we don't
athlete?
have any. You asked for regrets, you know.
Interesting.
Just, never been blessed.
Yeah. Good.
And you're running again for mayor, is that unopposed?
Yeah,
Is it
There's-
stressful?
not really. I mean, it was in the beginning.
You told to shut up and sit down.
But this is another issue that I feel very passionately about, so I don't mind talking about it. And this is the reason I decided to run again, because you do get tired after a while of doing something. Though it doesn't really take up that much time, because I have a very good council and I have a very good management team. But there's this major, and I'd like to get your opinion on this, because you might think differently than I do. But there's major development, and you might like something like this. Right there by Country Chevrolet and Hampton Inn, right behind Country Chevrolet as you come into Warrenton, you have 40 acres of cornfield. We call it the cornfield. And over the years, the developers wanted to develop and put retail or shops or offices or whatever there. Lately, last year, a developer comes in and wants to do this mega project. A project that would basically look like what you see in Gainesville.
Please do it.
You see?
No.
No, there are people like you that want that, right? Because it means more shops, it means more selection, it means things to do. There are other people that say, why do we need another nail salon? Why do we need another law office? Why do we need another steakhouse? And especially if it means that the traffic congestion.
That's crazy.
So I decided, listen, I can't let this happen. The Planning Commission voted 4-3 a couple months ago to approve it. I ran on a platform of preserving the small town character of Warrenton and not letting Warrenton look like Manassas or look like Gainesville. And I'm not going to leave office with that hanging over my head. And maybe the council going along with the Planning Commission and approving 1 million square feet.
Wow.
Now, 1 million square feet, just to sort of visualize it, if you take all the stores, from Sheetz, Sears, Safeway, Rankin's, Blockbuster, come back down, then go across the street and pick up Walgreens and Chick-fil-A and Harris Teeter and Hampton Inn, and added all that together, that is only 700,000 square feet. And now you want to put this 1 million square feet right there, and the traffic. So,
Well, if you go through.
but you're right, I do get, hey, it's a good idea. Hey, more shops, what's the matter with that? I don't have to go to Gainesville
Why do you
anymore.
have to go that big?
Pardon?
I mean, that's just way too big.
It is way too big.
You know, I mean, I'm coming from New Jersey, you know, not that long ago, where we've got something close to that, but one of the draws to this area is exactly what you just said. Small, rural, you know, farm community, keep that uniqueness.
Right.
I mean, you know, we're a dying breed. I mean, I do think we need more restaurants.
A donut shop. I've been saying it
You
for
know?
years.
Go by Joe Jacoby's spot, because somebody told me Dunkin' Donuts is waiting for somebody to buy Joe Jacoby's spot so they can put it there.
Can I share a story with you to my in-laws? When we moved into this area 4 years ago, and I told my in-laws we're moving into Warrenton, they said in 1957, when I left the OSA, you know, which is now NSA, my father-in-law tells me, we moved to Fauquier. And that's where Kevin, the oldest, was born in 1957. So they were absolutely, oh gosh, see, obviously I still don't know where I'm going. What is the military base that's right over there?
Avon Hill.
The Avon, he says, Vin Hill, right? Oh, I had no clue what anything was. So they came down. They were so excited. We loved Virginia. We wish we hadn't ever left Virginia, but Mom was homesick, had to come back to Philadelphia, didn't know anybody there. But there was a lovely colonel that had a farm. We rented a little house, and now all the stories just start going. And now my husband, who hadn't really known that part of life, is just so many different stories. So they are dying to come down to see the area. And it's where the hospital is, and that open area that you're speaking of, that they were able to orient themselves on even a little bit. And then talking to, who's the man that owns, the older man that owns the furniture shop that's right there.
Rankin.
Rankin's, yeah.
Yeah.
And I took them into Rankin's, went and bought furniture there, and I happened to ask Mr. Rankin, just because he was older, you know, do you know about this colonel? And he had some stories, so I brought them into the shop to talk to Mr. Rankin, and they were able to find the farm again, because of course things have changed so much. But if that little spot weren't there where they can kind of visualize from 1957, And that's what they loved. And now the old courthouse used to be the hospital, is my understanding. That's where Kevin was born. So I would hate for that to be lost. Because those
Yeah, but I
stories
think
would
it's a
be lost.
generational
Yeah.
difference. I mean, your generation, I
I'm
mean,
like
speak
from the
up.
city,
I'd like to get
so
your
I love
opinion.
that.
You sort of like more opportunities.
It's
There are
just
more
hard, like,
shops.
just driving around and not having anything to do. It's like, I'm from the city, so it's like, I don't really like the country. But, I mean, I like it, but I don't. But, I mean, if it's gonna be in the city, why not make it city?
Well,
Like,
that would
it's
be
in
more
the
competition
town.
for your parents' restaurant though, too. You have to
Oh,
go,
but there's
for
no
your dad's.
competition for us, don't worry about
Oh, your
that.
parents had a restaurant? Which one?
Forlano's Market in the Plains.
I just look at all the empty retail space already on Main Street, you know, so how are you gonna fill? And there's just so many empty
like-
commercial spots.
Yeah, like doing it right now would be a bad choice because of the recession and everything, but I mean, in the future, if things get better or something, it would be a good idea, but right now, it wouldn't be.
Once you had Forlano's Market come up onto Main Street, Warrenton, expand.
It's just the location, it's more horse country towards Middleburg area. My dad and my stepmom are both kind of small town celebrities. She's into horses and he's the chef, so.
Do you all feel the same way she does?
No, I don't.
You
think
don't?
No,
You?
I agree. I like Warrenton as like a small
I like it.
town.
How about you in the back? How do you feel about it? Would you like a big shopping center back there so you can?
Lauren, you would have hated it when I grew up here. There was nothing to McDonald's.
Yes?
No.
Oh, no.
Maybe there was
I'm
less.
trying to get.
I know, I don't
How
do
about
I'm not
you?
gonna lie, I like the smell of mall air.
You like it?
Yeah, like we need like a move, like something that for. I just feel like kids get in more trouble when there's nothing to do.
We had a movie theater.
We need a
It was
movie
disgusting.
theater.
I heard.
It was.
I heard it was gross. Like the bowling alley, you just walk into a cloud of smoke. Like we just need more things to do. That's my big thing. Is like if you give us something to do, then we can stay out of trouble more. That's like my huge thing.
museum there.
I mean, sort of like a teen club?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
They
just
did that too. Remember the polo club that they had
That's
for
right,
the
yeah,
teenagers?
that's
But you know what
right.
happened? No, it wasn't. That was the name of the restaurant.
Yeah, it's the place to
And
go.
it was teen night, but there were always fights. So it's, you know, they give things like that to teens, then you have a couple that take advantage of it and get in trouble, and then they close it down. I think that's what's happening there.
Well, Borders has become a good, accessible place, I think, for a lot of them. Willie
Yeah,
just
they
said
go
he's
there, yeah,
happy
it's a
that
great place to
Borders
hang
is
out.
there.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that they end up hanging out in the parking lot, because that's where I see a lot of them. I go in for a bug, and I'm like, no, I'm like, what in the world are you doing in the parking lot, you know? So,
Give me a place that you'd like to see as a place where you can just go and hang out with your friends. And would just be some building that had a
What would you
jukebox?
like?
We need a movie theater.
Arcade Place is, I'm hearing Arcade Place.
Well, probably too, that Smoky Joe's, I think that is the coolest building, and that second floor to have bands for
I've never
kids, like
seen
I think that would be a fun.
Well, it
thing
was,
for you
I mean,
guys.
years ago.
Yeah,
They had good bands in there. They'd get Andre to come up there on a weekend night.
yeah,
And he was good.
Fox, yeah.
Yeah, definitely no more banks, no more nail salons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of saturated.
We have enough Starbucks. Exactly. We have enough fast food restaurants. That's my thing. We have enough fast food.
Actually, I think we need
See, that's the
We have
trouble
enough
with-
gas stations and car dealerships too, and grocery stores. I think we could like maybe like a little strip mall or something,
We already have tons of those around here that have
like
nothing
more
in them.
outlets.
Not with
Yeah.
the same stuff that we gained to.
Yeah,
Well, you could say like,
Compare the amount of retail
Like,
space that they've built.
we're
I don't
definitely.
know, whenever they have
I'd like to not drive an hour to the movies every time.
Yeah, the
That
movie
would be
theater
nice.
would be
That's the
really
biggest
nice.
thing out here is movie theater.
Yeah.
That would be
But you
really
can't
nice.
really control that. I mean, they're gonna come if they believe they can make some money.
There used to be.
And we've had inquiries about a movie theater coming, and maybe one will come, because we have gotten bigger. And they all look at, okay, what's the population? Draw a circle of 10 miles around it. What's the total number? Okay. That's large enough for us to go make an investment and stick in 5 movie theaters or whatever.
What about a fun land?
A
That would be
fun-
awesome. That and then I would
Which
open
one's
up.
that? That's where you have the games? Isn't it?
Yeah, it's like arcades and
like
it's
a
like
roller
bumper
rink.
boats and
There's
like
one in
a
Fredericksburg,
goat
I think,
track
isn't there?
or goat track, go kart. Like it'd open up more jobs for people too.
Uh-huh.
I think that would be a cool idea. Yeah.
Actually, Mint Hill would be a good place to put something like that because it's cheaper to
Yeah.
build.
And they've got the land for it without ballooning the
Yeah.
fields.
Yeah, you can give me credit for that. I get credentials.
When you have to look in Fredericksburg, they've got the same thing, and that park, city park.
I've never been to
Central
one out
Park.
Central Park, sorry. I was just wondering how well they do. It'd be a good place to,
I know that was a big one with my kids, so I went down to Funland constantly.
oh, really?
But it is,
But it's a
it's just
drive.
one big giant strip mall and the traffic is brutal. So I try to avoid it as much as possible. You're too old for that.
Yeah.
So,
Who, us?
no,
Now her
mom.
kids.
Oh,
Well, they're younger than you.
8 to 11. I just want to go there.
kidding me? I would dominate some arcade games.
What do you guys have any other
But you're right, I mean, between the skating disappearing and the movie theater, you know, that was something that I noticed right off the bat. This is a great place to live, but the teenagers hate it. That's the first thing they try to do is get out.
Yeah.
And then when you're about 25, you decide that this is the place you want to live, and you end up coming back. And you can ask a majority of the teachers in the building who are originally from here that, yeah, they